Learning is a continuous process, and we learn something new every day. These 5 short stories are going to change your outlook on life. Danny Boy. Imagine a world where everyone is headless. I mean literally headless. No one has a head. They can't see, hear, or talk. Everyone walks around like blind and deaf. People keep running into each other, crashing cars here and there and firing in the air. Several people die every day, but no one cares. They don't bother to stop to inquire. In this cruel world, only one person has a head. The poor Danny Boy. He's the one suffering the most, because he can see and understand everything but can't bring a change alone. He has rational thinking and emotions, but no one to share with. He usually spends most of his time in his room building a weird device. Things get more complicated when Danny Boy falls in love with a girl. They go out on a movie date and their feelings grow stronger. The next morning, after working on his project, Danny Boy gets ready for his date. Just like always, people are dying on roads and cars are running over them. But Danny Boy also doesn't care anymore. He's blindly in love. He gives a bouquet to his girlfriend and they go for a walk. While sitting down on a bench, the girl tries to feel Danny Boy's presence. She realizes that he has a head and runs away in fear. Danny Boy gets really sad and shuts himself in his room. His project is completed. It's a guillotine. He's going to cut off his head to become a part of the society. Though it's painful, now Danny Boy can fit in. He rushes outside to meet his girlfriend. She's happy to find out that Danny Boy doesn't have a head anymore, and they live happily ever after. Danny Boy is a representation of a person with a creative mind who thinks outside of the box. He's a person with feelings and emotions. While the headless society represents selfish people who ignore the insensitive activities going around them, it's not possible for a single person to change the mindset of so many people. In the end, he has to give up and become headless too. The next story will encourage you to keep moving forward. The Old Man and the Sea. Santiago is an old fisherman who has spent many years at sea. He's always proved to be an expert, but lately his luck has turned bad. It's been 84 days since he caught his last fish. People start calling him Salao, which is a term used for the unluckiest man. The only one who still respects him is Manolin. He's a young man whom Santiago has taught fishing. He stays loyal to Santiago, and every night he comes to Santiago's small house, carries his fishing stuff, cooks food, and talks about baseball and Santiago's favorite players. Manolin is forced by his parents to work on a luckier boat, but he can't separate himself from his teacher. Santiago doesn't want to give up yet. He decides that he will go far into the ocean and break his unlucky streak. On the 85th day, he leaves early in the morning in his small boat. He spreads his fishing lines around the boat and waits for a big fish. By noon, he feels a pull on one of the fishing lines, but it turns out to be just a small fish. Santiago doesn't want to return with such a small achievement and continues waiting. At noon, he feels a strong pull on the fishing line. Santiago is sure it's a big marlin, but it is too strong for him to pull in. The old man doesn't want to tie the line to the boat because he is afraid the fish would break it with a sudden jerk. So with his tired back, shoulders, and hands, he holds onto the line for 2 whole days and nights. He let the fish pull him far away from the land. When his strength starts to give up, Santiago recalls a memory of his youth days. Once he had challenged the strongest man for hand wrestling. The battle continued for a whole day. It was the longest one in records. But finally Santiago won and people started calling him the champion. He wants back his reputation and dignity even if it takes all of his strength. His hands are cut, his body is sore, and he hasn't slept much. He also feels sorry for the marlin and appreciates its strength but doesn't let the fish line go. Finally, on the 3rd day, the tired marlin starts to circle the boat. Santiago is almost out of his mind with fatigue, but he still pulls the line in, bringing the marlin closer. He turns the fish on its side and kills it with a spear. The marlin is too big to fit in the boat, so Santiago ties it to the side. He can finally sail home, thinking about how proud Manolin will be. Santiago is going to be the strongest fisherman once again. Unfortunately, the blood from the marlin attracts sharks. Santiago senses the trouble and regrets going too far. A big shark attacks the boat and tears a big wound in the marlin. Santiago kills the shark, but he loses his spear in the process. He hurriedly makes a new spear and kills 3 more sharks, but then the blade breaks. Each shark has bitten the marlin, and the blood keeps flowing. That night, a whole group of sharks came. Santiago keeps trying to fight them off. He sees a shark trying to eat the marlin's head and realizes that the fish's body is completely gone. He believes the sharks have destroyed his dreams. He will not be able to prove his achievement. The next day, Santiago reaches the shore. He hardly walks back to his small house, leaving the marlin's head and bones with his boat. He fell into a deep sleep immediately. In the morning, Manolin finds Santiago and feels glad to see him again. People thought Santiago had died. Other fishermen gathered around the remains of the marlin and felt sorry for their behavior. They ask Manolin to tell Santiago how sorry they are for mocking him. To prove his worth, Santiago almost got killed. Manolin promises to go fishing together with his teacher again, and hearing this, Santiago goes back to sleep and dreams about his youth and lions on an African beach. The ocean he went to depicts our life, and the sharks are the difficulties we face. With determination and hard work, we can achieve our goals just like Santiago. Basket. Life is not fair to everyone, just like this little girl who was born into a poor family. However, she never complains and cherishes every happy moment she gets. After dinner, they all go to sleep except the little girl's father. He gets up quietly and opens his chest and takes out the pocket watch he got as an honor. It's the most precious possession he has. Every night he hugs the pocket watch tightly before going to sleep. The little girl always wonders what's inside the chest. The next morning she waits for her parents to leave for work. Before going to school, she sneaks inside the chest and takes out the precious clock. While she's admiring it, a cat gets inside the house and startles the little girl. The pocket watch falls from her hands and breaks. The little girl gets scared and puts it back inside the chest. The whole day she remains in fear and regret. As the night sets in, her father gets up and opens his chest. He gets really sad seeing his precious pocket watch in such a miserable condition. He walks out of the house and sits beside the road. From the next day, he doesn't talk to his family, he doesn't eat, and he doesn't even sleep. The little girl can't see her father like this. She must find a solution. The next morning, she doesn't go to school and keeps working hard on wooden baskets. She makes a bunch of them and gets on the road to sell. Unfortunately, no one bothers to buy the baskets. The poor girl keeps roaming on the road till the evening. Finally, a rich man stops by her and buys all of her baskets. He also notices the pocket watch she's carrying and offers her a ride to the repair shop. The shop owner is also a kind man who fixes the pocket watch in time, and the girl returns home giggling. Unfortunately, it feels too good to be true. The little girl was just imagining it. The rich man stops by her, but he doesn't buy the baskets and pushes them away. The baskets fall over the road and vehicles run over them. The poor girl starts crying and sits on the road. She doesn't have the courage to return home. Suddenly, her father comes over and sits beside her to console her little daughter. In anger and grief, we forget that we are not suffering alone. Our loved ones are suffering too. Don't let them face the cruel world all by themselves. Alike. Here's another story of a father's love. Copy and his son Paste live in a colorless world where everyone follows the same rules. The lack of creativity has drained the colors and happiness out of the people, except for Copy and Paste, because Paste still has creativity left in him, and he also keeps his father's colors alive. While going to school, Paste sees a violinist under a beautiful tree. The soft music and the enchanting colors grab Paste's heart, but his father doesn't let him stop for long. He's getting late for work, so he immediately drops Paste at school. Copy has to do work all day long and his colors fade away by tiredness. Meanwhile, Paste keeps finding joy in his daily life that keeps his colors intact. After school, Copy hugs his son in a rush and gets back his colors. Unfortunately, Paste's teacher isn't fond of his creativity and keeps forcing him to work like other students. This starts to drain his colors. Moreover, Copy also doesn't let Paste listen to the violinist and decreases his creativity even further. A time reaches when Paste totally loses his colors. Copy can't see his son like this. He regrets his decisions and takes Paste to the violinist, but the violinist has already left. Copy can't give up so easily, and he takes the place of the violinist to cheer up his son. By getting encouragement from his father, Paste revives his colors. Parents and teachers should understand the creativity of kids. Every kid is different with a different color, and that makes each of them special. Harvey Crumpet. Some are born great, and some achieve greatness. Then come those who are born to be unlucky. Harvek Milos Krumpetski is one of them. In the early 90s, he was born upside down in Poland. Bad luck has been striking him since childhood. He's diagnosed with a rare brain disease that doesn't let him control his impulses. He can't even make friends at school and always gets bullied. His parents give up and decide to teach him at home. His mother helps him learn new facts every day and writes them in a book that hangs around his neck. Harvek grows up fast and becomes a strong man like his father. However, his bad luck hasn't ended yet. One day when Harvek was outside, his mother accidentally left the stove turned on and the whole house burnt down. Both of his parents died. After that, Germany called an attack on his country. Poor Harvek has to migrate to Australia. Throughout this unfortunate journey, he remained optimistic and never got tired of bad luck. After moving to Australia, he bought a house with other immigrants and changed his name to Harvey Crumpet to fit in with society. He gets a job at the dump and starts learning English through TV shows. He tries making new friends but gets punched in the face. His head cracked from the incident and the doctor inserted a metal plate inside it. Harvey keeps trying to find new jobs. His health is getting worse day by day. His habit of smoking makes him an asthma patient, but it wasn't discovered at that time. He also gets struck by lightning and becomes a human magnet due to the metal plate inside his skull. His optimism seems to be waning, but then he gets inspired by a quote written on a statue, "Seize the day." This encourages him to try new things like nudism and vegetarianism. His bad luck gives another surprise, and his testicle is removed due to cancer. Harvey is still happy because this surgery introduces him to Val, a beautiful nurse. They fall in love and get married. They adopt pets, but the cancer doesn't let Harvey have kids of his own. The couple finally decides to adopt a child and names her Ruby. She's quite bright and learns all the facts his father knew. She grows up to become a successful lawyer and travels to America to pursue her career. Harvey's wife dies suddenly due to vein blockage, and he's alone again. He's quite old now, so the government sends him to an old age home. Even there, Harvey keeps finding a purpose in his life and entertains his fellows. Together they wait for the bus which will take them home, but it never arrives. Harvey steals drugs and decides to end his life. The same night, he meets an old woman suffering from cancer. Her suffering is bigger and she takes the drugs instead of Harvey. This makes Harvey realize that he still has a lot to live for. He gets back to the station and waits for the invisible bus. Life might be full of sorrows, but there's always a reason to smile. You just have to find it.